Hello, welcome to the library meditation session for noon. I'm Doug Holmes, and we're going to talk a little bit about meditation and then do about a 30-minute meditation exercise or meditation practice. And today I'd like to talk about something that gets discussed a lot in meditation, and that's loving kindness meditation, or you'll often hear it called metta meditation. And it's very popular and it's a really good practice. But a lot of people are put off by the idea of loving kindness meditation because it sounds sort of artificial and sappy. It's like what we just sit around and, think about how great we are or how great everybody is, and there's a famous teacher named Ajahn Sumedho who talked about when he first came to England from Thailand, where he had been practicing for many years, and he was talking to the people at the English Buddhist Center about loving kindness meditation. He asked them if they ever did it, and they were like, "Oh no, that's silly. We want the real meditation. we want to have powerful, deep meditation, not sit around talking about how great everything is or something." They thought they didn't understand what metta meditation was really about. And one of the things that Ajahn Sumedho said was the thing to understand about metta meditation is it doesn't start with this idea of, oh, I'm going to love me and I'm going to love everybody. Where metta meditation or loving kindness meditation really starts is with acceptance. That's the basis of the practice. Because certainly in metta meditation, you can develop these feelings of love and kindness towards other beings, and it can be very powerful and very transformative. Sort of before you get to that step, there's an understanding about acceptance and accepting yourself, which is something that Westerners are not very good at. We tend to have standards for ourselves, and we're rather hard on ourselves if we don't meet them. And so the idea of accepting yourself seems sort of dangerous and problematic a lot of times to Westerners. They think, well, if we just accept ourselves with all our faults the way we are, then we'll stop improving. We'll just we won't get any better, or we'll do bad things because we think everything's fine and it doesn't matter what you do. And that's not what acceptance is about. Acceptance is really seeing yourself very clearly and allowing that to be the way it is now, no matter what it is. The idea behind acceptance in loving kindness meditation is that by accepting yourself or accepting other people the way they are, you stop fighting with reality. You stop fighting the truth about the way things are. There may be a lot of things that you would like to change about yourself or about, your situations with other people, and that's totally fine. You can still work on making yourself in the world a better place. But before you can change anything, you have to accept the way it is right now without sort of argument. You have to be willing to begin with the way things are now. And what we tend to do is we reject ourselves the way we are now. We won't even look at ourselves properly. We won't accept ourselves. And so we never really engage with our issues or any other issues effectively because we reject it before we even look at it. And so loving kindness meditation really begins with acceptance. And the way this works in a meditation exercise is as we're meditating and thoughts and feelings and notions are always coming up. The mind generates thoughts the way apple trees make apples, right? It just happens. And in meditation, instead of getting all wrapped up in those thoughts and starting to try and fix them or solve them or think logically about them, we just observe that thoughts happen and we let them fade on out of their own accord. And one thing you'll notice when you're observing your thoughts is that each time we have a thought, there's sort of a feeling that goes with it. And it's either a good feeling of pleasurable feeling that this is a good thought or a good thing that's happening, in my mind right now, and I'd like for it to have more of it. or this is not a good thing. I really shouldn't, this thought brings up a problem that causes me stress and I don't want to think about it, or I really need to fix it. And so we have an unpleasant feeling about that thought. Or a thought comes up that doesn't really relate to anything that's happening with us. And so we just discount it and we say, well, that thought, I'm going to ignore it. It's irrelevant to me. I don't have to think about that or pay attention to it. And so there's this constant stream of judgments that tends to happen every time we have a thought or a feeling or a sensation about anything. We'll have this sort of feeling of judgment that follows right along behind it. And that's where we run into problems with acceptance, because we have all sorts of thoughts and feelings and situations that come up in our minds that we don't accept. It can't be that way. It's wrong. I'm not going to put up with it. And so we reject it and push it away before we even get a good look at it. And so acceptance is very helpful to the meditation practice, because this is something you can practice doing. As a thought comes up, if it's sort of a negative thought or has a bad tinge to it, you treat it like the weather. You just allow it to arise regardless. Like, it doesn't matter right now whether it's about something good, bad, or indifferent. It's just mental weather, and I'm just going to let it flow on through without comment, without trying to fix it or push it around, or if it's a good thought, to hang on to it and get more of it. It just is what it is. That's what's happening in my mind right now, and in a minute something different will be happening. So that's the idea behind acceptance. And that's why acceptance is sort of the basis of loving kindness meditation that people talk about. And of course, there's all sorts of formal loving kindness meditations, which I bet somebody's done that in this session before. But today, we're just going to do a very simple meditation with a little bit of guidance. And as we meditate, if you notice those sorts of that feeling judgment, it's not even words, it's not even a concept. It's just kind of, you're drawn towards it, or you're pushed away from it, or you just don't care about it. You'll notice those judgments. And what we want to do is to realize that we're making a judgment about something, and just let the judgment float on by, just like the feeling does, and just accept what's happening as the way it is now. So that was somewhat long-winded, but so as we sit to meditate, let's get in a good position. You want to be sitting steadily somewhere, in a chair, on a cushion, wherever you may be, stable. You want to if you're in a chair, you want your feet to be flat on the floor, somewhere around shoulder width apart, or there. You can place your arms down on your legs, palms down, or cup your hands together, however you're used to meditating. We just want to park our hands somewhere comfortable. You want your back to be straight, but not stiff. You're not at attention, but your posture is good. And so we just want to sit up like we belong here. We're not shrinking or curved over. Sort of open front. I'm open to the world. And you can the head, we're going to just be maybe pointing down a little bit. You can put your eyes somewhere in front of you, a few feet in front of you. We're not really looking at anything. We just need somewhere for our eyes to be. You can call it a soft focus. We just want to park our eyes on the floor in front of us a few feet. And then relax the face and the jaw. We tend to hold a lot of tension there. So notice if there's something going on there. Stress. Take a deep breath. And I will, in a few seconds, a bell will ring, and we'll sit for 30 minutes. And then another bell will ring, and we'll be done. So if you're in position, we'll get started. As we begin our meditation session, as always, we'll place our focus on our breath, just lightly observing our breathing in and out, wherever that's most noticeable for you. Just feel the body breathing. And of course, at the beginning of our meditation session, there's often a lot of thoughts still floating through from whatever was just happening. And we might have a thought that we need to clear our minds and focus on our meditation. And those are all judgment sort of thoughts. I mean, it is true. It's good if you can focus on your breathing and leave the other things behind. But if it takes a while for them to shake loose, that's okay. We'll accept the way our mind is right now, whether it's calm or excitable or anything else. It's just the way it is. We'll let it be. you find that your mind has been wandering a little, just bring your attention back to the breath and notice how you feel about your meditation. If your mind was wandering, you might have a negative feeling about it. If you were still with your breathing, you might have a positive feeling about it. We're accepting those as just more thoughts. Our mind, we accept our mind in whatever state it's in at the moment. It's okay. As we're sitting, observing our breath, we feel ourselves nodding off. You might take a deep breath or two, open the eyes a little more, let some more of the world in, wake up a little. As we notice the sensations and thoughts and feelings that move through us, and we also notice the judgments about all of those things that tend to be happening at the same time. As we learn to see all of them as just mental events, mental weather, the thought, the judgment of the thought, these are all just events happening in our mind. We can accept them all and let them move on. Meditation actually gets a lot simpler. There's never a problem with a thought, even if it's a very judgmental one. It's just thinking. We'll accept that that's the state of our mind at the moment and not fixate on it or judge it. And as we learn to let our mental phenomena flow through our minds in this easy way, whether it's good or bad, it's not a problem. You may find that the mind gets a little brighter. It seems to lighten up a little. See if you notice that feeling as we sit. as we sit, observing our thoughts and not making a problem out of them, we find that this lets our meditation sort of go by more easily and more pleasantly. It might even bring a little bit of a smile to our face, and that's okay. Even if you don't feel exactly like smiling, you might just try a little smile. Sometimes if you smile for a little bit, the feeling of smilingness will follow and it'll be more natural. But we might notice that as we let our minds be without judging them, that we're looking at ourselves or even holding our mind a little bit more tenderly than we usually do. And that's okay. That can be helpful. In a few minutes, our meditation will be coming to a close. And during that time, you may want to actually think in your mind, at least the first part of the traditional phrases of loving kindness meditation. I'll say them and then leave a little silence for you to say them to yourself if you like. May I be filled with loving kindness. May I be safe from inner and outer dangers. May I be well in body and mind. May I be happy and at ease. Continue with those words or just enjoy the silence for our last few minutes. All right. If you travel somewhere during that, welcome back. Oh, someone said you couldn't hear the bell. Sorry about that. I'll have to somehow arrange it a little closer. That's the end of our meditation session.